You got an audible. Audible. This is really
It's not even working. And we're back with another episode of the Student Media Podcast. I'm your co-host, Deacon Tuttle, joined by the enigmatic electric Evan Couch.
Yeah, let me hear it. Keep going. Rattle them off.
No, that's it. That I actually pronounced it right for this time, so I thought I'd give redemption from the last episode. But
just the one and done.
One and done. Yeah, we are joined by Nick Heuker. Glad to have you on the podcast. Super interesting guy, and we got quite the story of how I got introduced to you, and that's via root beer float. So
all over root beer float.
Yeah, great.
I even got the mug here today.
It's a spiffy mug.
Spiffy mug.
Do you want to break that down real quick? Because I don't know. I know this story.
Yeah. So I was walking out from a class and I saw, a bunch of people tabling, and I was enticed by the offer of a root beer float. And I was like, cannot turn that down. Nick here said, you got to talk to me for a couple minutes. I said, I'd love that. I love talking to people. And he got to tell me about himself and a super cool program, which is why I was like, it would be great to have him on the show. A Central alum here. And Nick, do you want to take it away a little bit?
Yeah. So we were out. There's not a lot of people in our major. So I'm a technology education major. I graduated in June. And I started my teaching career at Quincy High School. But, there's not a lot of majors left, and there's not a lot of people left that actually even know that the program exists. And so we were out there just tabling, and we got these, like I said, pretty snazzy mugs built up. QR code sends you right to the website. And we're there really just trying to promote the trade, teaching the trades, because there's nothing wrong with teaching kids that going to college is not always the option, but maybe just going straight to work.
Nick, I come from I feel like I talk about this every single week on the show, but I come from a very, very small blue collar town.
As do I.
Yeah. So like teaching the trades, that's big. I mean, out of my graduating class and I was talking with my friends this the other day. I think if you looked at the percentage of how many people get bachelor's degrees who come out of the high school that I come from, it is probably under 20%, if I'm being honest. And I would imagine everyone else goes into the trades or they just go straight to work.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is where I'm from. I mean, when I graduated with 66, and there was only, I believe, maybe 12 of us that went to college. And I don't even know if all 12 of us ended up getting bachelor's degrees.
Yep, that's the same thing here. I'm smaller than 66, but tiny town. I mean, our town is basically funded off of logging and mill operations.
Where are you from?
Darrington, Washington.
Okay, so I'm from Stevenson, Washington, and we're the same situation. Our money comes from logging, tourism, and the local mill, and that's it. So
what's funny too is like Darrington. I always talk about how people have never heard of Darrington. I've never heard of Stevenson. I don't think.
You guys are long lost spiritual city brothers here.
Exactly.
I know. This is insane.
Like
This is insane. But yeah, I mean, like it's a lot of respect too. I feel like people kind of tend to talk down on people who choose not to go to college, or they just think like, oh, you don't want to go to college because you're not educated or you're not putting in an effort, when in reality that's just not it at all. I mean, not everyone wants to go to college, and you got to respect that, because there are plenty of fields out there that are going to probably pay a lot more than my bachelor's degree is going to pay me when I get done.
Oh, exactly. And I tell my students that I was a kid who wanted to drop out. I had dropout paperwork ready to go, and I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm just gonna go to work. There's no reason for me to be here. I got nothing to do. I was gonna go fish. It's gonna be a commercial fisherman for the rest of my life.
That would be sweet.
And my shop teacher got me into coaching. I was coaching a U14 soccer team, and I kind of fell in love with the idea of coaching, which at the end of the day, coaching is teaching, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden I realized I was really, oh man, we got the bell too. I realized I was really good at woodworking. So I started a woodworking career. I was building custom furniture while in high school, but then finally realized, like, man, I would love to be able to teach kids how to do the things that I love to do, and then encourage them to follow what they think is right. And if they think going to college is right, then I'm going to give them all the resources they can to go to college. But if they say no, like I just don't want to go to college. All right, let's get you into work. Here's a company you can hire. Here's a company who will hire you because you can read tape measures and use tools because you've taken my class. So I mean, I try and work with that with all the students. And I have students from tons of different demographics. Quincy is very heavily populated with Hispanics.
Mm-hmm.
A ton of them want to go, and then it's like a mix of mostly Caucasian and then a couple other. I think we have a few African American students, but not. I mean, a lot of our students are Hispanic students, and they just want to go straight to work. But some of them want to go into become electricians, so we teach them about the union. So it's just about trying to encourage these kids to do whatever they think is right for them.
Yeah. Big props to you for following that. And then it's super cool that you're able to emulate that model to other people. I mean, especially with you being so passionate about all those things that you're teaching, and when we spoke, you told me about all the varieties, different classes you teach. And it just sounds so fun that you're able to take that across different fields of education.
Yeah. So, I mean, a little bit about the courses I teach. Whoa, my computer. Am I still there? Yeah, I'm still here. A little bit about the courses I teach. So I teach a basic construction course. Students come in, they learn all about the safety of all the machines. We teach them how to read tape measures and work on tape measure fractions, adding and subtracting, multiplying, division. And then we go into projects. They learn how to start building basic projects. We start with birdhouses, and then we move on to stairs, like step stools, and then we move up to boxes and cabinets. And so it's just kind of slowly working them through. And then I offer the counter to that is construction 2 is their advanced portion. And those kids learn how to build sheds. We actually frame whole 12 by 12 buildings, and we put roofing on them. So
how long does that take?
The shed part?
Yeah. Is that like a full year class, like one semester?
All my classes are all year long. I have 10 kids for 2 semesters. And the sheds typically they'll take, I think next year we'll start a shed from square one, starting next year with a new set of students. I bet you we'll probably be 1 shed per semester is what the goal is. Granted, sometimes students make that goal stretch. And so we'll actually end up being a whole year for 1 shed, which is all okay as long as they're learning the process, right? So, and then I teach one more course. So I teach pre-engineering as well. And I teach an advanced and a basic course of pre-engineering. And in pre-engineering, we learn 3D modeling, drafting, 3D printing, laser engraving. We teach them a lot about Adobe Illustrator in that class too, because the laser uses Adobe Illustrator. And then we talk about invention and how to be design, like how to take your image that you have in your head and put it on paper and then put it on the computer in a 3D model. So it just kind of experiences them to other things. But then they also learn about projects and building woodworking. So they build the birdhouse as well. They build, what else will they build? They built the step stool as well. So kind of the classes are intertwined a little bit, but engineering has a big emphasis on what it means to design and be the person that tells the woodworker what they need to build.
So it's almost like an integration, right? You talked about working with Adobe Illustrator and stuff like that. You know, a lot of schools are probably kind of stuck in the older methods of just teaching like a shop class, you know, and how to use like a miter saw and the planer and things like that. Like where I come from, that's kind of the extent. You know, you said a couple things in there that remind me of a lot of the stuff that we did in high school in our shop class, but it's like now you kind of have the technology to modernize it a little bit and teach people skills that are more relevant today. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. And honestly, so I'm a part of the Washington Industrial Teachers Education Association, or we go by WITT. And it's just a big professional group of tons of technology teachers across the state. And then we have a national counterpart as well, but across the state, shops are moving away from your typical learn how to build furniture and learn how to build cabinetry, because we're trying to progress with the technologies. Still, there are tons of shops who do it exactly the same way as they did 20 years ago. And there's totally nothing wrong with that, because there needs to be kids who graduate who know how to swing a hammer and drive nails. Yeah. But there's also lots of kids who need to know how to use a computer controlled router or learn how to 3D model, because that's the way it's going.
Yeah.
Deacon, this guy's speaking my language right now.
It's great, right?
It's the integration of the blue collar in the college education, and I love it.
It's great. I know.
Yeah, I got my shop glasses on. You see, I literally looked over.
I've got pairs everywhere. I mean,
I think these are actually my little brothers.
Sunglasses here that can kind of double. They're gray. They're gray in some way.
I don't know. Are those OSHA certified? I don't know.
They look like Oakley. They look like Oakley.
Not bad. Not a sponsor, but I do quite enjoy them. So shout out to
I've been wearing Ray-Bans lately, but
there you go. I think these are my little brothers from his shop class. Actually, he's still in high school. So
Nick, I wanted to touch on something that we talked about a couple of days ago, which was how unique it is for Central's program. You mentioned to me that there's only 2 schools right west of the Mississippi that have tech ed. Do you want to talk about what led you to Central?
I was reinformed about that. I was a little wrong. There were
Okay.
a couple other programs opening up on this side of the Mississippi, but we're the only program in Washington State.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you want to graduate with a technology education degree, you're going to have to go to Central Washington University. And there's nothing wrong with going to Central. I loved Central. Best time. I was there for 5 years. Awesome. I still live in town. But maybe some people don't want to move it. So it's crazy that there are so many open jobs for teaching what we teach.
Oh, yeah.
There's only one school to go to. So only one way to get your 4-year bachelor's teaching degree in tech ed is through Central. And then there's, I was informed by my professor at Central, Scott Callahan, shout out to Scott. He informed me there is one school in Fort Collins, so Colorado State and Fort Collins, and then there's a couple in Utah. He's pretty sure there's like 2 in Utah.
Okay.
I don't remember if he mentioned a couple more, but I know Montana State used to have one and then they closed it. So it's a dying course, unfortunately, but the career isn't dying. It's just that schools are pulling it out because there's not a whole lot of people interested.
With it being so like,
Go for it.
I was just gonna say, with it being so narrow and the amount of obviously opportunities to pursue this degree, is the field at Central pretty big? Like, is it hard to get into? Is there a lot of people trying to get in, or was it still like just not really known about?
It's really dead, honestly. There's not a
Wow.
whole lot of known, which is why I was really excited when you guys were like, hey, come talk to us about it, because like everybody who listens to this is going to hear about it, and I hope
Yeah, for sure.
to go at least discuss it, because there right now, I believe since last spring, from this last spring to this coming spring, we'll be graduating 12, which is the majority of our major. So there was a big group of us that came in all about the same time, age-wise and year-wise, and started the program. So we're kind of all losing it at the same time. And there's just so many open jobs because schools, K-12 schools, are just restarting to open their shop programs. And we don't just teach shop. I mean, yeah, I teach wood shop. I can teach metal shop and machining, but I teach engineering. We have programs that teach robotics, and we teach a course called Flight Tech. Flight Tech has to do with drones and how airplanes work and aerodynamics and stuff like that. There's a big long list of courses that we're allowed to teach at the high school level. That's so more advanced than just shop.
Yeah,
Did you always want to be a teacher?
What?
Did you always want to be a teacher?
So when I would say probably about a couple months, maybe halfway through junior year of high school, I find like it clicked in my head that I was like, you know what, I want to teach high school shop. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to teach wood shop. And I was pretty specific on wood shop.
Okay, because like that's such a specific program, and it's like it just seems if it's something that you want to do, you want to teach shop, like you said, that is almost like the perfect thing to do, right? There's a tech ed program at the school university where people who usually might not want to go to a university or do something like that, they want to go into the field. This is a program for them where they can actually attend university but still learn tools of the trade.
Yeah, exactly. And the degree itself is because it's so broad, the degree you truly get is technology education in the broad area.
Right.
So as my professor Scott Callahan describes it, is we're a mile wide and an inch deep.
Oh.
So we're very broad. We can teach all sorts of stuff, and we can teach you really it's not super specific, like and very deep into all of the topics, but that's where your own stuff you're passionate about comes in. So like with myself, I'm super passionate in cabinetry and construction. So in my construction courses, I'm an inch wide and a mile deep. Now in my engineering course, I'm not as good as an engineering teacher, if I'll be honest. And so I'm a mile wide and only an inch deep. So it allows us to hone our own personal skills and teach those skills specifically to students. So I worked in the industry while in Ellensburg. I worked for Cedar Mountain Woodwrights, and I was a cabinet builder, custom furniture maker, custom cabinets, and custom millwright. So my industry experience is very specific in construction and cabinetry. And so in my construction course, I teach a mile deep. We learn about all sorts of stuff. But in engineering, where I'm not I only have my college education. I teach an inch deep, but I teach a mile wide.
That's an interesting way to look at it for sure. I like that. Deacon, I'm sorry to cut you off those 2 times. I just had to get it out.
No worries. No, that's good. I was just going to talk about, Nick, you gave me that sheet of all the opportunities there are for tech ed in general. And I was just blown away.
I got one right here.
Why do I not see that anywhere? And it reminds me, like, I just want to encourage people to check out.
I got one right here. I'm trying to open it up so you guys, and I can scan this and send this over to you, but this is a full sheet of paper. And all these little lines in here, those are CTE courses. They're not just tech ed courses, but they are CTE courses, career and technical education, which is critical in schools. And I am so lucky here at Quincy High School that I work in a district that has all of these options for CTE. I mean, it's insane. I have never been somewhere or worked somewhere that has as many options as we do for our students. Our students, a lot of times, leave our courses with college credit. So all of our American Sign Language is all accredited with, who are they? I can't remember, a college on the West Side. They're all accredited. So when they leave, they have college credit to that class in college.
Amazing.
And then a ton of we have like college and high school careers and education. When those kids take the careers and education course, when they graduate and finish the course, they're a paraeducator. They've already taken their tests and have their paraeducating license. These kids have so many options.
Yep.
Myself and our 2 ag teachers are soon hopefully purchasing a forklift. The specific reason to bring the forklift in is to teach the kids forklift certification course. So when they graduate,
that's awesome.
That is
forklift certified. I mean, we do all sorts of stuff with these kids that you don't get in the normal classroom. We're special.
So cool. So hands-on. You're just like hitting the ground running. It just reminds me of like when I was in high school. Like, I'm not a particularly artistic guy, but I had so much fun just in my art classes. I had such like a special connection with one of my teachers that I built over like 3 years because of how it just goes a long way when you can tell that the people like teaching these courses love what they're doing. And it seems like you just have that level of energy and the drive to go and share that with other people.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blast. There are days that are hard. Like, do not get me wrong. There are days where you are going to work and maybe the students are just having a bad day. And it's not their fault, but they're taking it out on you. And it happens. But every day I just take a deep breath and I go, he's just having a bad day. I was a kid who had a bad day once, and I was an ass to my teacher sometimes. I let it go. I take, and every day I restart. I never hold a grudge on my students. And you have to understand that they're just kids. And a lot of my kids, they just want a hand. There are days we don't learn about woodshop. I mean, there are days where kids ask me questions that they just want to learn about something else, whatever the topic may be. I'm a pretty firm believer as an educator that my students need to leave my room with some sort of education. Doesn't matter if it's in my content area, as long as they're becoming better people, then that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Real quick, I saw a tattoo on your arm there. That looked pretty sweet. Yeah, I saw it on both sides. And I just wanted to say, I think if I'm going to see a teacher that's going to have a tattoo, I probably want it to be my shop teacher. And it just kind of brings a level of a badassery, if you will. I feel like it's the only, if anyone's going to complain about something and it's like, he's the shop teacher, he has to have tattoos. You can't say that he can't have tattoos. It's ridiculous.
I was a little worried as like growing up. I was like, man, I'm going to be a teacher. I can't get tattoos anywhere that they can see them. So I have one on my leg and then one on my chest, but it's like, I can't get anything else. But then I started like getting into schools more, like as I was progressing in my program and you start taking your experience out into the actual schools. I saw so many teachers with tattoos. I mean,
I think it's more acceptable now. It was always a weird thing to not be acceptable, but it's like, it's just kind of how it is. It comes and goes.
Back, 10 years ago, it was kind of a big deal for a teacher to have a tattoo. It totally wasn't okay. And now, most of the teachers I work with have some sort of tattoo. A lot of them not visible, but a lot of them just, on their arms, kind of like this one over here I have, and then even up on my bicep. So it's thankfully we have realized that tattoos do not make you a bad person.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are some sweet tattoos. I do want to say.
They were pretty sweet. I've got them.
I wanted to level with you kind of my last question to leave it off with. Coming from where I come from and whatnot, and being the way I am and saying what I say about my town and my community, I did not take woodshop. I didn't take any shop classes. I just know all about the shop classes because everyone took it. I got my credits through shoot, I don't even remember what I substituted wood shop for. Probably art. And I don't really probably art class.
My engineering course, we're cross-crediting with art for next year. So that way, if kids take both years of my engineering course, we can get them their full art credits, because there's a lot of design aspects in my engineering course. So at the end of the day, being dual credited is super important for CTE because it allows those kids who don't want to be here. I was a kid who did not want to be in school. I could not stand high school. I skipped Spanish, I skipped English, math, just to go to the wood shop. Never to leave the building, but to go to the wood shop.
I guess my question would be that, I was going to ask, what would you say to someone who's on the edge about going to college and going through possibly joining workforce, going to a trade school? But I guess on the flip, looking back at my history and not doing wood shop, what's something that you would tell a student who maybe doesn't want to take wood shop and why they maybe not even wood shop, just any of these classes that you've mentioned, right? The machine learning or the metal one, I can't remember. Sorry, don't remember what it was.
Metals, machining.
Yeah.
Wood shop engineering. I mean,
what would you tell a student who's maybe on the fence about taking that class whenever they have the opportunity to do so?
Would you rather sit in a math class or would you rather come to my class?
I think that's all I would have needed. In retrospect, I would have dropped math class in a heartbeat and went to it because I suck at math, which is probably why I didn't go to a tech school.
Granted, you still have to take math.
Yep.
Hey, if there's any high school kids listening to this, you still have to take math. Don't worry.
Maybe we'll work on the transfer credits for that too.
So before I joined, I don't have my math cert. The teacher before me had their math cert. One of our courses was a construction math course, which counted for geometry.
Wow.
So there are lots of shop programs. Where I come from, one of the shop programs is accredited with math, meaning if you take 2 full years of the shop courses, the basic and the advanced courses, you can get 2 credits of math, and you need 4 to graduate. There are tons of programs that were dual credited everywhere.
Yeah, and I think they're just making it accessible so they get more people, right? People working it faster because, teachers are really needed and things like that.
Yeah, and we teach in the construction world, we teach math a little bit differently than they do in the math department. And some kids just, at the end of the day, I'm a kinesthetic learner. As a teacher, we call it kinesthetic learning, meaning I learn with my hands, right? There are lots of people who learn from listening or learn from seeing and learn from writing. The kids that learn with their hands, they thrive in courses like mine.
Absolutely.
Kids who learn by writing stuff down and listening, they thrive in English and they thrive in math. Yeah. They don't necessarily thrive in my room, but a lot of kids now are very kinesthetic learners, and that's important for us as teachers to understand.
Yeah, I'm definitely more gifted on the English side of things, but I would have jumped at the opportunity to do.
That's why I'm doing this right now and not doing what Nick's doing.
Well, that's okay though. We love to encourage. I mean, you can ask Deacon. We were just out there asking everybody, man. We were bugging anybody that wanted to get a free mug and a root beer float. We were talking to everybody. I think we might have been successful and got a couple people to switch majors. We'll see, but that's the goal.
Super exciting. That's
the goal. Is we just want we want to progress this major because there's so many open positions, and I wish this camera turned around. I wonder if I can get it turned around. I'd love to show you really quickly. So I teach here in a computer lab, but then out those windows, I don't know if you can see the
shop out there.
That's my whole wood shop.
That is awesome.
2 huge 3D printers in the back, and then I have a laser engraver here. And I mean, we just teach all these. Well, now my camera's gonna fall. We teach all these crazy, I teach all this stuff. I get to play with 3D printers every day. I mean,
living the life.
I'll be honest, when I'm bored and the kids are just working and they're just kind of working through a project, I'll be up here 3D designing something to 3D print after work.
I would probably do the same exact thing. I'd be looking at stuff all day to 3D print.
Yeah, when I'm in the wood shop, sometimes I'm working on my own projects. Like there's something that I'm building that I brought in material to build stuff at my own house because I was like, I have some time. The kids are just working. The whole point is to encourage these kids to be peer learners. I want them to teach each other.
Like they see you working alongside them, right? Like they see you kind of doing, you're not exactly showing them how you show them if you need to, but at the same time, when they're working on it, they see you doing the same thing, which kind of probably encourages them to get a move on whatever it is they're working on as well.
My biggest goal is to create problem solving skills and students who are easily able to look at a problem and work through it on their own to figure out the solution. So when they come to me with questions, I don't just give them the answer. I ask them questions again. So they'll ask me a question, I'll ask them a different question. They still don't understand, I'll ask them a new question until we can both get to the right answer. But it's never just me saying, oh, this is the answer.
Mhm.
It's me encouraging them to think critically on their own.
Yeah, that's super important.
So
Anything you're proud of that you made recently?
holy cow. I mean, I got to admit, there are days that are really hard as a teacher. This is the one thing I'm most proud of. Every day teaching has its own moments and it's really hard, but you're reminded, not every day, not even every week, but maybe once a month, you're reminded why you became a teacher. And here's a note. Right before Thanksgiving, we were doing, the kids were doing thankful feathers in our advisory course. And my student goes, I'm thankful for Mr. Heuker helping me get back on track with my classes. You're not always reminded every day why you became a teacher. And some days, like I said, are really hard. But little notes like this from your students are a reminder of why I became a teacher every day. So the thing I am most proud of is the ability for my students to be problem solving adults and be good people. And that's what I work on every day with them, is just working on being a good person. At the end of the day, that's all that I care about. And that is what I'm most proud of in my room, for sure.
We get a round of applause for
maybe not the
teacher,
answer
Mr. Heuker here.
But as an educator, that is the most important thing for me. So
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
We need people like you, Nick. Thank you for doing everything.
It's a blast. I would love to have you guys come out and shoot some pictures if you want. Feel free anytime, shoot me an email. We'll get you guys out here and we'll do. I can show you some really cool stuff with the kids out here.
That would be awesome.
We might have to do that.
Stuff, so
yeah, let's definitely set it up. I'd love to see you guys out here and just share the knowledge bank that's in this room.
Yeah.
My last question. Are you on lunch right now? Is that what this is? Or are the kids at lunch?
So I'm actually on my prep period, but all these we have a weird bell schedule system for the next 3 weeks. It's testing. So we're on this weird schedule. So I have prep for 90 minutes. And so my prep goes through the second set of lunches, because we do have 2 lunches here at Quincy.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say we need to get out of here and let you eat your lunch.
I already had that at 11:30. Don't worry, that was right before.
Oh yeah, it is 12:30.
What's this last one?
That was my question. Was just like, are you taking your lunch? Are you taking your lunch time to hang out with us 2 idiots?
No, I had lunch and then I move on to my prep. It's funny, you guys probably saw me say, get out of here. Students broke my door.
Oh, I mean,
my door doesn't shut anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it doesn't shut or lock because the kids broke it yesterday. And so I can't actually shut and lock the door and tell kids to stay out. And so I was like, hey, get out of here, because we have 2 lunches. So upstairs floor goes to second lunch, downstairs goes to first lunch. And the kids were trying to come in, because I often, even outside of class, I have students who are in my room at all times.
That's how you know you're a good teacher.
That's the whole point. Is we're just trying to make a difference. And as a new teacher, there are times where it's hard to connect with kids, because like seniors, I have a hard time connecting with seniors. I call them kids, but
yeah, that age gap, it's a significant amount of time, but at the same time, you look and they're like, well, he's only like 6 years older than me.
He's the same age as my brother.
Yep.
It's like, so with seniors, it's hard to make a connection because they just look at me as a guy who's not very much older than them.
Yeah.
And then freshmen, it's a little bit easier to make connections with. But overall, like, to really connect with students makes it really easy to be young. Right. So, I can tell them like, hey, 5 years ago, I was a senior in high school and I was doing the same crap you're doing now. And then, with freshmen, it's the same way. Like, I know your tricks. I did your tricks. When they sit and look at their phone in their lap and they're giggling at their lap, I tell my students that if I ever catch them laughing and staring at their crotch, that I'm going to send them to the nurse, because if they're laughing at it, there's probably something wrong.
That is an epic phrase.
I mean, I have actually walked up to a kid with a hall pass. I've seen a kid staring at his lap, and I filled out a hall pass going to the nurses, right to the health room, right? I circle the health room section and I go, you need to go see the nurse. and I'm trying to be quiet. And then everyone can hear me saying, need to go to the nurse. And they go, why do I need to go to the nurse? I was like, well, if you're laughing at your crotch, there's got to be something wrong.
That's got to be the most shop teacher joke I've ever heard in my life,
You
to
know
be
where I got
honest.
it? My shop teacher
Our
told me
shop
that.
teacher,
Oh, that's great.
our shop teacher would have probably said the same exact thing. Just
That's awesome.
old fashioned hard ass. I love it.
Oh yeah, I mean, for being a young teacher, I use a lot of old school methods because my teacher is old school, and hopefully, you know, I have to change with the times as well, but
Right.
thankfully I do, because I do love my job. I'd hate to be fired.
Well, the last thing I'm going to say is what you said it earlier. Like I said, if you've got students coming in your room and hanging out outside of class, you know you're doing something right, and you know you're being a hell of a teacher. So congratulations on the position. It sounds awesome, and it's been great talking to you about all this, Deacon. That's all I have to say. So I'll let you cap it off if you got anything else.
No, I just want to say thank you again so much, Nick, for coming on. It's super interesting, and we need more people like you that are passionate about, you know, the talents that they have and want to give that to the next generation, and starting at a young age and being able to build those connections throughout all like your tenure. It's just super exciting, and I hope that we can do some extra media stuff with you guys and get some clips and footage. I think that'd be super sweet, and just to be able to spread and give this profession like more of a platform, I guess.
Yeah, I would love, like I said, I'd love to have you guys out. It would be a blast to just to share, you know, that's the biggest thing, is to share what we do. I mean, what we do is awesome, and not a lot of people know we still do it. So I would love to do that. I appreciate you guys having me on for sure. This was fun.
Of course, yeah.